Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. We've got another Transformers review coming your way. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at the Studio Series number 62, Soundwave. So this is the Soundwave we saw him in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen when he was the orbital satellite. So as we always do, let's take a look at that packaging first. We'll move him on out of the way and we'll bring that box in. And you've got Soundwave as the satellite right there, number 62, Studio Series, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, Transformers up the side. Over here you have some more artwork, some CGI generated images. And back here you have your product shots, big screen inspired, orbital espionage. And down here you have a very brief bio. Soundwave hacks an orbital satellite to provide a tactical advantage for the to the Decepticons. Backdrop is included. All your warnings down here. You have the sad baby, so fear not, he is there. And then you've got a close-up of Soundwave's gorgeous face right there. He is a deluxe class. Up here at the top, you have Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Down here at the bottom, you have your manufacturing information. So that's it for the outside of the packaging. Let's go ahead and take a look at what came in that packaging. So we start with, of course, our little sheet of warnings. You have those, fear not, where the sad baby is, so is the sheet of warnings. Then you get your instructions, and the only accessory that he comes with is this little flight stand, which we will talk about here when we show him in his satellite mode. Alright, and the last thing that we have is our display base. So again, as I've said in other Studio Series reviews, for those of you who have the room on your shelf, these are great. Unfortunately, I do not, so I will be putting this back in storage, but there you go. You can put Soundwave up on his display base, and then you can have that nice backdrop of Earth. So there you go. All right, let's move that on out of the way, and we will bring Mr. Soundwave in for his close-up. So before we even begin, I will say sculpt work on this figure is really well done. A lot of molded in detail. The paint apps, what few there are, I think are really well done. But overall, this is a weak figure. But let's go ahead and bring him in, and I'll keep my critiques for later. So there you have that mug, and yeah, he's just not a happy guy. Come down here to the chest, and like I say, just tremendous amount of molded in detail on this figure. Everywhere you look, there is some molded in detail. So, you know, kudos to the designers for working with what they had here. And so you've got some nice weathering right down here, and then this is just molded gray plastic here on the upper legs and the thighs. A little bit more weathering down here. And then you do have those nice silver and blue effects for the satellite portions. Let's take a look at the sides of the legs. And then get up here to these arms because they do have a good amount of detail as well. Even those hands have good molded in detail on them. A couple of paint apps right there. And from the back. Yeah, so there you go. Like I say, from a detail perspective, this guy, he's really not that bad. So let's go ahead and talk about his articulation. So with that head, it is on a ball joint, so you do get some side to side. You do get a little bit of down, not much, and then you get a tremendous amount of up. So you get some up there, and then you have the ability to bring that head all the way back. So good range of motion there, and although it's difficult, you can get that head all the way around full 360. And then here at the shoulders only come up that far. You can 360 those shoulders, and you get over 90 at the elbow, and bicep rotation goes all the way around. Just make yourself aware of these so you don't run into anything. You don't get anything at the waist. You get a little bit of wiggle, but that's not really a waist rotation. That's just open tolerance back here for the transformation. And at the hips, yeah, old boy doesn't have much. That's all you're going to get as far as splits go before he starts running into these parts on his thighs. He can, however, kick forward that far. And as long as he misses his butt flap here, he can kick backward pretty much as far as you want to take him. And then down here at the knee, you get just over 90. And the only thing you get down here, if you want to call it an ankle tilt, which is what I use it for, you do get some ankle tilt there, and it is a pretty significant amount. So, you know, if you wanted to have some kind of fun with him, he can ankle tilt more than he can split. So that right there looks like he's getting ready to do a little bit of a sumo action for you. All right, so overall, the molded in detail is great. Paint apps are okay. Articulation is subpar on this guy. This is just a poor design. But what we'll do is we'll go ahead and I'll get him straightened up here, and then we'll go into transformation and get him into his satellite mode. Alright guys, before we get into the transformation, I just wanted to cover a couple of points of articulation that I missed in the last segment. You know, they're not that big of a deal, but I want to make sure that I'm including them and being as thorough as I can in my review. So first and foremost, you have these little shoulder pads up here. There's really no rhyme or reason, but you can adjust those any way you like. And then down here you do have the wrist rotation. This is due to transformation, but you could take advantage of it for posing if you choose to do so. And then you do have thigh rotation, and I completely missed that as well in that last section. So good thigh rotation on this guy. All right, now that that is out of the way, let's go ahead and get this guy into the transformation. So the first thing you want to do is take these legs and you want to angle them out as such. And then you're going to take these and you're going to flip those in, and then you're just going to have a soft little click on either side. And what you can do now is go ahead and open this. So just grab him and pull him up, and that's going to split him right there at the waist. While you have him up like this, these little barrels, they're just on very soft ball joints in here, so just oh so gently maneuver those and bring them out. So they're kind of sitting like that, and we'll clean these up when we get him finalized here, but just go ahead and get them out of your way now. And then rotate this all the way around, or not all the way around, but rotate it 180 degrees. And then he's on a double hinge right here, so bring that double hinge forward, and then you're going to just push him down onto this section. Now, this may come undone during the course of the rest of the transformation because this isn't the most secure connection, and I have a tendency to just grab him and try to mangle him a little bit when I'm doing the rest of the transformation. So if it comes loose, just be aware that's what's going on. So just like that, I mean, I barely touched him. It's just a loose connection. So, all right. Now, what you have up here, and I hope you're getting good light on this, so you have on these shoulders, you have these little slots and these tabs. I'm going to use this flight stand here to point. So right here, you have these slots and these tabs. And you have two different positions on there. So if you just grab the chest and take those shoulders and bring those down on either side, and then what you're going to do is you're going to line up. So you were, there we go. So you were in these, and now you're in those. All right, and yeah, he came undone, so push that back in. And once you've done that, just give his arms a little bit of an angle here. And then you bring these legs up. Now, when you bring the legs up, you have right here on either side, you have a slot, and then down here on the backs of these legs, you have these tabs. So you're going to bring these legs up as such, and then you are going to align the slot and the tab. And I will do my best to try to keep this on camera. Get those where they're in, and push those in nice and secure. Do the same thing on the other side. Bring that up, line it up, give it a push, and make sure that he is secured again, where he should be. Double check your position of your shoulders. This guy can be a bit of a pain just because there's so many loose areas on him. Alright, make sure that that's all secured. So, once you are here, you flip these up. And then if you want, you can use that ankle tilt and adjust these any way you see fit. So you have Soundwave in his satellite mode. There you go. And once you've done that, now you can bring in the one and only accessory. And there's a little port down there at the bottom. There's a peg on top of the flight stand. And you can plug it in. And then you set Mr. Soundwave up on his flight stand. And yeah, there you go. He's a satellite just floating in orbit. All right, so one thing that I did notice, and there's really no explanation in the instructions. The instructions showed to leave his head up in both modes. So the head has the ability to move backward or forward a little bit, and it also tucks in quite nicely in that area. But there's nothing in the instructions that say to tuck his head away. So, I mean, I guess you could have the headless satellite. Oh, let's kick that out a little bit. There we go. Now that's a satellite. But yeah, so you can either have his head down or you can have his head up. And I mean, in the movie, he did have his head up when he was putting all of his tendrils on that other satellite to gather up all the information. So I suppose this is about as accurate as it gets. All right, so bringing him in for the details in this mode. Actually, I might just do that right there and just give him a little turn him 90 degrees each way. So you have this nice silver, I think accents it well. You know, there's no doubt here that this is just Soundwave in some kind of a crazy yoga pose. So, you know, that is what it is. There he is from the back. From the side. All right, and as far as articulation goes in this mode, yeah, you can angle these however you want. You can angle these however you want. You can angle this however you want. And as we previously covered, you can drop that head. You can move these shoulder pads up or down. So yeah, I mean, I guess if you wanted, you know, something like this, you could have some of that action going on. There you go. That looks, my gosh, that looks really painful. So, all right, what we will do is I will get him off the flight stand and get him straightened out, and then we'll bring in some comparisons for the alt mode. All right, so I realized I just said that I was going to take him off the stand and then bring in the comparisons, but it's occurred to me that if I take him off the stand, he's going to fall over. So we're keeping Soundwave on the stand. But let's go ahead and bring the comparisons in. So what we'll do is we will start with the G1 Soundwave. So you can see how those two stack up against each other. And next what we'll do is we will bring in the Ransack, who made a brief appearance in the Transformers Revenge of the Fallen movie. So this is a Decepticon biplane. And you can see how those two look together. Next, we will bring in the Soundwave from Transformers Prime. So you can see him in his drone mode and the satellite mode. Next, we will bring in Soundwave from the Dark of the Moon. And this is my preferred Soundwave mode because, come on, you don't get a better hood ornament than that. I mean, that's just fantastic. Hey, what's up? Yeah, nobody's going to steal that hood ornament right there. Nobody. And last but not least, for a size comparison, we will bring in the Siege Astro Train, since he's a satellite and he's a space shuttle, sort of. That way you can see a size comparison there. Alright, so let's get these guys out of here, and then we will transform Soundwave back into his robot mode. Alright, so to get Soundwave back into his robot mode, the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to literally take that stick out of his butt and ask him why he's so grumpy. Sorry, that's a little off color, but it is what it is. Alright, then you can disconnect the legs right up here. Just pull them out of those tabs on both sides, and you can flip down these satellite panels. And then just move those legs, get them out of your way for the rest of the work here. This is already disconnected. How convenient. So if it's not already, disconnect it, spin him around 180 degrees, and then on this double hinge right here, move that backward. And then that'll allow you to bring this down. But before we do, I am going to adjust these shoulders. Get them positioned where they should be. And then I'm going to take these two little barrels and I'm going to go ahead and move them now. Makes life a lot easier. And just tuck them away right in there. Do the same thing on both sides. Now we can bring this down, and you do have a little tab there, and you have a little slot inside here. I don't know if it's focusing. There's a little slot inside there. So you bring that down, and then that's how you keep him connected on the front. Give it a little push, and you're all good. And then you take these legs, turn them back toward the front as they should be. And then you grab his little arms down here and flip these outward. Do the same thing on the other side, flip it outward. Then you can adjust those arms any way you see fit. Bring those shoulder pads out. Maybe that's what it's for. It's not discussed in the instructions, but he looks better with the shoulder pads flared out in robot mode and then pressed away when he's in his satellite mode. And then you just take his little butt flap back here and you adjust that any way you want. And once you're done with that, you have Soundwave back in his robot mode with his head all tilted, looking like he's got an attitude. All right, so there you go. So what we'll do now is we will bring in some robot mode comparisons and see how he stacks up against some of those other bots. All right, so for robot mode comparisons, let's go ahead and bring in G1 Soundwave so you can see how he looks there. All right, the next one we will bring in is the Dark of the Moon Ransack. So you can see how he looks next to an old timer. All right, the next one that we will bring in is the Transformers Prime Soundwave. All right, the next one that we will bring in is the Soundwave Studio Series 51 from Dark of the Moon. And yeah, I've got to say it, guys, between this one and this one, go here. He looks good in his car mode. He looks good in the robot mode. He's not the most articulate figure, but he's got a much better presence than this Soundwave does. And our last comparison, just for a sense of scale, is the War for Cybertron Siege Leader Class Astro Train. So, satellite, space shuttle. There you go. Alright, so what we'll do now is we will get him straightened up, and I will give you my final thoughts on the Studio Series 62 Soundwave. Yeah, so my final thoughts on the Studio Series 62 Soundwave. I guess I'm underwhelmed and disappointed. There's nothing exciting here. About the most exciting thing is you get a flight stand, but the robot mode is okay, but the articulation is lacking. I don't have any major quality issues with mine, so I guess that's good. But this satellite mode, yeah, I'm completely underwhelmed. There's not a lot of playability here. I mean, he's supposed to be floating above Earth. You know, you never really see him in combat, so from a role-playing standpoint, there's not a lot there. I guess I don't know how they could have done him better as a mainline figure, but that still does not negate my disappointment in this release. My only consolation is that I picked him up on clearance, so I actually paid almost half of retail for this figure, and honestly that's about the only reason that I did, because just even before I bought him, I just wasn't excited about him. He'd been out for a while, and I just didn't pull the trigger. And you know, when I had the opportunity to pick him up for about 50% off, I said, all right, I'll do it. And I'm glad I did not pay retail for him. I simply cannot recommend this figure. Rarely do I ever sell Transformers, but this may be one that I, you know, try to get a couple of dollars back on, because it's just not, it's not exciting. He does nothing for me. If you would have asked me 15 or 20 years ago, I might have had a different story at that time, because that's what this feels like. This feels like a Michael Bay Transformers toy release from 2007. You know, it's right up there from a design and engineering standpoint as those toys were, you know, 14 years ago, 15 years ago. But for the modern era, and to call this a studio series is almost insulting. So yeah, I don't want to keep berating the fact, but I'm not going to recommend this figure. I would put this figure in the pass bucket, unless you are an absolute completionist and you need to have every single studio series because they're numbered. This one's just not for me. So with that, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I wish I could have given you a more positive review on this figure, but you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. They're not all winners. So yeah, that's it. I'm just so let down by this figure. I'm sorry. But with that, yeah, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in. You know, if you like what we do here, barring this figure, everything else, if you like what we do here, you know, drop us a like, hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment. You guys know how to do all that stuff, so I'm not going to belabor that point either. So thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Take care.